Hello everyone, my name's Phill Johnston. I'm one of the dietitians from Stoke Hospital. One of my colleagues opted to have a NG feeding tube for a week to see how he got on with it. Now unfortunately he didn't tolerate it very well and was gagging and vomiting a lot, so he chose to have his NG tube out. So I said I would carry on the mantle for him and see how I got on.
So this might be going to be a bit disagreeable. When I said to swallow it, just try to swallow it. If you feel that you can't, then just have a sip like of water and just with the tube get in. Give a big swallow. You okay?
Yeah. And taste the lube.
Open your mouth one. You okay?
Yeah.
I think we have got in.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take the stillet off.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fix that other side.
Yeah.
So it won't hang on like this. What's he saying? So probably it's going to stay there.
Yeah.
I'm going to check now your pH, whether it's properly in. Luckily I got your aspiration.
I say you got that easy, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely in.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, thank you. So I've had my NG tube in for about an hour now. The main thing I've noticed is how much my nose has been running so far. So this is going to be my first feed, so quite keen to see how this goes. So I've already done a pH test on the ward, but I was going to give a quick one a go now. Just got to unpeel it from behind my ear. So this tape's stronger than I thought. Put my glasses back on. So got some content up quite easily, fortunately. Just pop the cap back on. Now I do want to say I've washed my hands and everything before I've started doing this. And pH is, well, perfectly fine for me to have my first feed. So one of the main reasons I wanted to do this week was to almost challenge some of my own practices, really, in terms of NG feeding as well. I have opted to be nil by mouth as well, so I'm not going to be taking anything orally over the next week. So my thoughts have always been that if I couldn't eat or drink, I would want to have the minimal amount of feed for maximum benefit. So I was going to try on some Ensure compacts and see how that goes, really. So always remembering to do a flush pre and post with my bottles, just some water. So I'll just put some serviettes below my tube because obviously we don't want anything spilling out. Right, so 60ml water flush pre and post. Oh, that's weird. I think it's probably because the water's cold, but it feels like it's actually running up my nose and down the back of my throat, so I actually feel like I'm drinking something at the moment, even though it's going obviously down my NG tube. I actually feel like I'm salivating quite a bit as well as a result. So again, weird feeling. So part of me wonders if that's just because it's water from the tap and obviously it's cold. Then that's probably why I'm feeling it going down that little bit more. So, try with an Ensure Compact. Now this is quite viscous, so we can only see how I'll get on with it. It's actually taken quite a lot of work to get in. It's not quite the same feeling as when I was doing the water, but I think that's because the Ensures are at room temperature. Now at the moment I plan to try and get through 2 of these Ensures just for my lunch. Based on the amount of work it's taking just to get 2 down, or well, not even 1 yet, I might be rethinking my feed and plan to make this a little bit easier. So I've just had my first bolus lunch, so I had 2 Ensures. The thing that I really noticed from it was how hard it actually was to bolus an Ensure. I imagine if you're elderly or frail, that's going to take a lot of work or a lot of assistance. It's probably taken me, bearing in mind I've had a few chats while I've been doing my lunch as well, it's probably taken me a good 15-20 minutes just to do 2 Ensures. I did water them down a wee bit in the end to try and get through them, and then I've given myself some extra water flushes after, because throughout this I'm more conscious of trying to keep my fluid status up as well. So a lot of monitoring my urine output, excitingly, to make sure I'm keeping well hydrated. In terms of how it actually felt, it was a really unusual feeling, because you are aware something's going down the NG, and your body feels like it's still responding in the same way it would to food. So I did feel like I was salivating quite a lot. So yeah, unusual so far, but I'd say first feed done. So we shall see how we go. Right, yeah, I'm just on my way back to the wards after having me lunch, so I've just got a few flights of stairs to climb. The thing I've already noticed even so soon after having me lunch is that I feel like I'm burping a bit more than normal. But say the disgusting bit is that you can, like, every time you burp, all I can taste is the Ensures. Which I've always found quite weird when patients have requested to have certain types of feed for their bolus regimes. But I didn't really think you'd ever taste it or have any thoughts from that. So we'll see how we go. The other funny thing I have noticed is the amount of funny looks you get in corridors. So we'll wait and see how that turns out as well. Hello. So I've just had my first gym session with an NG tube in, which was interesting. I don't know if it's just because I'm self-conscious, and obviously got this thing hanging out my face, but you definitely seem to notice a lot more second looks than what you normally get in the gym. The first stumbling block I already noticed was that I forgot to take any syringes with me to the gym. So I've probably come out a little bit earlier than normal, just because, well, I'm thirsty and I'm trying to see this through as best as I can, or while seeing through the nil by mouth strategy. So I've just got back to the car now, so I'm going to try and do some little fluids in the car. Just testing my pH, which has come back as fine. Get rid of that. That was just rinsing out the last of what was in the syringe. So we'll give myself some fluids. Again, it's that really weird feeling like before. It still feels like there's something going down my throat. But it's just, and it still feels like my body's trying to give like the normal response to having something. But I mean, it's not quite as refreshing. Even being honest, so far I have found this quite difficult. Again, I don't know if that's just more like the subconscious nature of it and overthinking it. But at the same time, it's also that fact of, if you really enjoy food, which I do, consciously thinking that I'm going to be going without and just be reliant on syringes and ensures for the next week. Well, it's not a fun thought so far. But we'll do that for the time being, and we should leave it at that for now, and then we'll just see how I get on later on. So that's the first day, or nearly a day, done. I've probably underfed today, so I've only managed 2 Ensure compacts and 2 Ensure 2 cals. But I think that's more just getting used to it and seeing how I get on. The plan for tomorrow is going to be trying to get through 6 Ensure 2 cal. So that's meeting all of my nutritional needs in theory, but that's based off 30 calories per kilo and 1.2 grams of protein per day. So I'll see how tomorrow goes. It'll be interesting to see how the night goes, because as a dietitian, the main times I hear about NGs coming out tend to be when they've fallen out in their sleep. So it'll be very intrigued to see how I get on with a night's rest with a tube in place. Speak to you all tomorrow. Morning up. So I thought I'd just give a little update on how I'm getting on with Nancy, the NG. I slept better than what I thought I would. Relatively slept right through. I thought that was going to be an issue. I was expecting it half to fall out. From an experience point of view, I can understand why so many patients initially are so reluctant to have an NG. Yesterday with it I was feeling pretty miserable, just couldn't get comfy, and even when I was talking to people, every now and then I'd get this really intense gagging feeling. But waking up this morning seems a lot more positive. In terms of intake yesterday, so I only did 2 Ensure compacts and 2 Ensure 2 cals, so let's say probably nowhere near meeting my nutritional needs. And if you're to believe the scales, my weight's gone from 82.6 to 80.2 this morning. I'm not quite sure I believe it would have dropped that much. In terms of bowels, after my first lunch yesterday, I was having really quite intense stomach pains, but that seems to have resolved now. So I don't know if that's just the compacts, because after the 2 cals I didn't really have any issues. So we'll see how it get on today. So not long finished work, so I'm just heading to the gym. So today I've managed 3 Ensure 2 cals so far, so about 1,200 calories and around about 50 grams of protein, and a few water flushes. I am going to make a few changes to how I'm doing things. So originally this was done with the intention of being completely no by mouth, but with trying to do ward rounds and with trying to still keep up a gym lifestyle, trying to do water exclusively via the NG is just, it's not really happening. And I'm just noticing that my when I'm passing water it's just too dark, and especially with previously having issues with kidney stones, I don't think it's really worth the risk of trying to exclusively do fluids via the NG. So that's the only changes I'm going to make. At home I'm still going to be trying to just use the NG, so we shall see how we get on. Morning all, so it's day 3 with Nancy. So yesterday I did 6 Ensure 2 cals, did it in 2 lots of 3. However, when I weighed myself this morning, my weight's gone from 80.2 yesterday to 79.6 today. So I'll be needing to increase the amount I'm taking in to try and maintain my weight. So far today I've managed 3 Ensure 2 cals for my lunch, and then I've had 2 Ensure 2 cals when I've got in from work. Today, generally just been feeling a bit low, just lacking energy, and that's probably the result of not meeting my nutritional needs for the last couple of days. Still being a bit of a guessing game to try and get the right amount in for me to maintain my weight. All I wanted to do when I come in today is just raid the snack cupboard and have all them comfort foods I would normally have after a long day where I am just feeling a bit flat. But instead, all I can think about is that I've still got to do 2 more Ensure 2 cals tonight. And I think probably as a result, it's got me reflecting a little bit, thinking as a dietitian, probably don't always give a lot of thought to how that psychological impact and mood and eating really affects our patients. In terms of those who are undergoing treatment and might not be able to have their favourite foods for some time after their treatment, or those who have degenerative conditions and might never have their favourite foods again, that must be such a psychological blow, and it must take some real mental strength to overcome that. Now, I don't want this to come across as me moaning, because I'm only aiming to do this for a week. It's just a little reflection point to really try and get into the mindset of how our patients might think who are long-term enterally fed. Morning all, so it's day 4 with Nancy the NG, so I'm just here at work. Yesterday I managed to get through 7 Ensure 2 cals, and then today the plan is to try and get through 8. So I did manage to maintain my weight yesterday, but I would like to see that weight come back on a little bit. So you might have noticed that me and NG Nancy have gone our separate ways. It's a decision I made today, just with everything that's going on with the health climate at the moment. I didn't think it was a good idea to continue with anything on me that wasn't absolutely necessary. I'm absolutely gutted, to be honest. I really wanted to see through the week. So yeah, I just feel a bit disappointed that I don't think it was the right decision to continue through. Thank you for the support though that I've had throughout the trust and just comments in general. It's been a really worthwhile experience, even though it was only 4 days, and if anyone is thinking about it or wants to see what patients go through, I would definitely recommend giving it a go. Take care all.